I'd like to make a presentation here and present the request before you, which is a two-lot subdivision final plat. They're requesting final plat for two lots. The lot on the non-residential lot would be for a wine and vineyard facility that was recently approved by Planned Development District for the use. They are now requesting final plat approval to create a legal building site. With that, there'll be right-of-way dedication to comply with the thoroughfare plan. There's also a mutual access easement that provides access to the back lot that would be platted or dedicated with this plat. One thing I'd like to note is that this is not a zoning item, and so there really should be limited or no discussion on the actual use of the property. Plats, basically, the state of Texas says that plats have to be approved if they meet zoning and subdivision regulations. And so we found this plat to meet the zoning and subdivision regulations, and that it must be approved by the commission. Basically the use and everything and zoning that was discussed prior to and approved by the council really shouldn't be part of the discussion today. And so the discussion should be limited to the lot configuration, right-of-way dedication, utility easements, access easements, things that have to do not with the actual use and the zoning of the property.
Okay, and related to the single family, asking you as the city planner, that complies with our current platting of 1.5 acres, all of that has been...
It's 2.5, that's correct. The zoning requires a minimum of 2.5 acres, and that the lots are larger than that. They comply with the zoning.
Mr. Rossini?
Yes.
Question for you.
Yes.
Related to stewardship of neighbors, what are your projected hours of the winery operation?
So the discussion should be limited to the lot configuration, right-of-way dedication, utility easements, access easements, things that have to do not with the actual use and the zoning of the property.
Mr. Rossini,
yes.
What is the intention of the short-term rental once this winery is in fully operational?
One thing I'd like to note is that this is not a zoning item, and so there really should be limited or no discussion on the actual use of the property.
I have a question. Oh, of course. There's a conflict, obviously, and this may be outside the realm of our domain.
So the discussion should be limited to the lot configuration, right-of-way dedication, utility easements, access easements, things that have to do not with the actual use and the zoning of the property.
But there's obviously a conflict with this gentleman who just left. And how do we, as public servants, kind of come to a conclusion as to what's the best for, not only for you guys?
So the discussion should be limited to the lot configuration, right-of-way dedication, utility easements, access easements, things that have to do not with the actual use and the zoning of the property.
How do you resolve a problem like this? I'm having some problems with believing him and believing you guys at the same time, but obviously, there's a reality, but each of you share a different reality.
Sure.
I'm perplexed, to tell you the truth on this.
So the discussion should be limited to the lot configuration, right-of-way dedication, utility easements, access easements, things that have to do not with the actual use and the zoning of the property.
And if you're going to have a business, and I've had a business in my lifetime, that you want, especially in in McClendon Chisholm, you can have a very successful business here, and you don't have to cater to any kind of element that is going to create a problem for your business. So,
I absolutely agree.
help me out with this.
I will. First of all, I do want to state a couple of people have brought up comments, and I'm very willing to work with those people. That gentleman who was so angry at the day that the city council approved our zoning came to me and he said, "You have not heard the last of me. I will be a thorn in your side for every day that I live here."
Does he have cause for that?
This was before we were renting the property, so I can't really say, because nothing had happened. He'd been here 2 days when he moved in, and he said, "I heard this." He came to the board. He was very vocal.
I don't know, sitting in this chair, I don't know how much I should say.
So the discussion should be limited to the lot configuration, right-of-way dedication, utility easements, access easements, things that have to do not with the actual use and the zoning of the property.
But it has been a terrible summer. It has been a problem all summer. And I do know the police have been called more than once, because I know I have called them more than once. And sheriff. And I agree, maybe we should have called you. I don't, again, sitting here as chair, I don't feel like I should get too into this, and maybe we should talk after. But
No, I would love to do that. I would love to do that.
I will tell you just, and this is where I come from and where I come from in my heart, I've had to take my 5- and 6-year-old inside because I felt like what they were hearing in our backyard was inappropriate.
Okay.
And that I cannot live next
Right.
to. And that is where I come from. But again, I think that's something that we just need to deal with.
One thing I'd like to note is that this is not a zoning item, and so there really should be limited or no discussion on the actual use of the property.
Mr. Rossini,
Yes, sir.
I will share
Yes,
with
ma'am.
you, it is very concerning to me, the inconsistencies that we're hearing just in this room tonight, much less what you're sharing has been going on. You report there's been one sheriff's report. We're hearing from somebody that they personally have made additional calls. So I'm just questioning the alignment of information that is being received to this panel this evening. The fact that these concerns have been going on for so long, and you attest that one individual has called you, but you want to be part of the solution, I would say, Mr. Rossini, your words are not matching your actions, because if that were the case, more people would be reaching out and approaching you. We are an incredibly vocal community.
Yes.
As you're realizing. We're not shy.
No.
We're very open to addressing concerns one-to-one. The inconsistency.
So the discussion should be limited to the lot configuration, right-of-way dedication, utility easements, access easements, things that have to do not with the actual use and the zoning of the property.
It concerns me, and I know that this is off topic. I'm new to this role, trying to understand, but we are here, and regardless of what committee we sit on, we all have a responsibility to be great stewards to our community. And in all transparency with you, I don't feel that right now.
Okay.
And I don't see that represented by the neighbors around your property. So I think there just needs to be a lot more discussion.
Okay, and I would just like to comment. I mean, from the inconsistency standpoint, I do not see where the inconsistency is. I've only been notified one time. I've only been called by one neighbor. Carol, would you like to come up at all and talk? We had communications with them. We gave them our number. We said, call us anytime if there's anything. Just never contacted us back. Said that was, and said in writing, we've got the emails, said that was the only incident we ever had. That was a wedding party that came in, that they got married in Hidden Creek, and they had a wedding party. And she actually apologized to us after. She says, I'm sorry. It was because it was on a weekend. She says, I didn't know it was a wedding party. I feel bad saying it. And we were like, not at all. Not at all. You should let us know. So again, I was made aware by the letter that he wrote only a week ago that I was copied on that letter. And like I said, I'm here and I'm willing to address it. If you think that's inconsistent, I understand that, but I don't think that I've been inconsistent. I think I'm trying to be part of the solution. So, and again, like I said, it does not make sense, as Daniel said, it does not make sense that we have a winery business and we're pissing off everybody that's around us. I don't want to do that. I do not want to do that. And I'm going to stay here afterwards, and I'm going to talk to the gentlemen who've talked to me. And like I said, we'll come up with a solution. We'll come up with steps to try to fix that.
One thing I'd like to note is that this is not a zoning item, and so there really should be limited or no discussion on the actual use of the property.
If you don't rectify the problems that supposedly are having here on the back portion of the property, your winery will suffer by it long.
I absolutely agree.
It's a business adventure for you, and as you've alluded to earlier, the cost element is, I mean, just in these plans alone, I was equating how much money this costs.
Absolutely.
And I know about startup businesses. I did 3 or 4 of them. And
As have I. Yes, sir.
you don't want to compromise your investment. And so if that back property starts to compromise your frontal property, and this is where you're going to be making your living, then, or a preponderance of it, then you have to come to some conclusion as to what you're going to do.
Absolutely.
In your best interest.
I'll work with whoever wants to work with me to come up with solutions, but I am being misrepresented a lot in people saying that I'm going to open up a bar and have big parties and weddings and events. That's never been the plan. That's not my plan, not what I'm going to do. So I hope that answers some of your questions. Whether it convinces you or not, I don't know what to tell you.
One thing I'd like to note is that this is not a zoning item, and so there really should be limited or no discussion on the actual use of the property.
So back to the city planner, point of education for myself then, as learning, as just understanding the role of planning and zoning. If we have a situation where somebody's been approved, but they're not being a good steward of their neighbors, of the city in general, what is our responsibility to that?
Well, it falls outside the plat before you, so it really shouldn't be part of the discussion today.
Okay.
It should be handled between neighbors in a cordial way outside of this hearing.
Okay.
Yeah.